and we'll get things going while people are loading in here. So, quick, go ahead and roll a D100 for me here. There's Jinku. $70. Okay, let's see what we got. 70, 70, 70, 70. Alright. Who is someone that looks up to you? So we'll give you a second to think on that one. And yes, although it is the very easy answer, you can all just pick the urchins. But that is a very easy answer to take.
That would be
was
cheating.
my answer.
Hey, you can take it. Like, I'm not going to judge you if you do.
I will. And Mix will.
Mix judges everything, so...
Jinku won't judge you, but that's because she's too stupid to judge you.
Yeah, but see... Living on the streets, it's not like Zyara really interacts with a bunch of people in, like, any sort of long-term capacity.
Yeah.
Like, this group that she's been sucked into is the longest she's ever worked with anyone. And so there's not really any reason that she would know of anyone looking up to her. So as far
Aside
as
from
she
them,
knows,
yeah.
the kids are the only people that do. Shit.
What was that?
It knocked over my drink.
Oh.
Can you get a towel,
Sure.
please?
1 sec.
Hurry. Like, really hurry?
Oh, jeez.
Lily has no idea if anyone looks up to her.
Technical
but
difficulties.
You know, you grabbed that towel and ran in there.
Oh, I totally forgot those were there.
When I said hurry, I meant hurry.
Totally forgot about the ones on the floor.
God damn it. I've been saving that drink for D&D too.
Aw. Hi, Pumpkin. No, stay down. Gotta keep the soda from soaking in. Pumpkin, stay down. Do not jump up, please. Well, that looks good.
Just gonna go get the wood from here.
Okay. Well, while she's doing that, I guess, Jinku, who looks up to you?
If anybody does, she wouldn't know it. She doesn't really see herself as somebody that other people look up to, other than because she's tall.
Fair. That is fair. Alright, how about you, Boo?
Well, I know that despite everything he says, Mix looks up to me. He
Okay.
wishes he could be like me.
Alright.
I think we might have caught it before it went over the desk.
Yeah, I think he did. He was close when I came over with the towel, but I think he did get it. How about you, Blossom? Who looks up to you?
Blossom doesn't know if anyone does, and doesn't really care.
Fair enough. Okay.
I'd have Mix's answer.
Oh, what is Mix's answer?
Despite what he may say, I know Boo looks up to me. He wishes he could be just like me.
That seems reasonable.
I think that's Mix's probably honest to God answer, you know?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Okay. So, anybody want to give us a quick recap of what shenanigans you all got up to last time?
So we got hired by this noble family because they're pretty sure that some cult wants their kids. They just don't know why. But, you know, sacrifice is a pretty valid answer. And we were told that they were probably in this, near this village outside of Waterdeep.
Mm-hmm.
So we went there and went to the tavern, because where else do you go?
Of course.
And had some really good drinks. And then we found out about this farm that had been abandoned for a little while. Scouted it out. Found out that some fucky cult shit is going on. And now we're investigating the cult shit. And we totally made Boo go investigate a lot because he can be invisible. And we're all pansies.
Hey, Jinku's not a pansy. She's just not, easily hidden.
Or at all sneaky.
Minor details.
It's true. But also because Boo can be invisible.
Yeah. And so now you have found yourself in the middle of the cult shit.
But I'm invisible.
You are
Yep.
still invisible. So yeah.
You were definitely in the middle.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And we tried to mess with them during their summoning ritual, and then they saw us.
Well, yeah. So all of you but Boo and two Null Witherlings got summoned, and this large, kind of pretty armored Null kind of let out this howl at the four of you behind him in the cave here, and here we are. So if you all want to go ahead and roll initiative. So we can get you in here. All right. Sweet. So, at the top of the order, one of the cultists here, at least from what you can see, appears to be a human. Up here we had, there were a couple of these gnolls, and the one larger one, and then these kind of creepy-looking skeletal gnolls that popped out of the ground like daisies up here on the summoning circle. So this human cultist kind of turns around, sees you all, and gets this kind of angry look on his face, and with a shout, kind of runs in your direction, kind of unsheathing this curved scimitar from the side of his hip. Kind of, his robes kind of billow as he runs towards you here. And he tries to swing at you, Zayara, with his scimitar here. And does hit. Doing 4 damage to you as he comes charging at you. Which brings us to Boo. You are invisible. Standing in the middle of the summoning circle that just went off. You've got some spooky skeleton boys on either side of you here. What are you up to?
Well, okay.
Aside from squeegeeing the pee out of your pants.
Yeah, I was gonna go there, but you went there, so we're good. All right. I will. It's my move speed here. Okay. Oh, that's right. How tall is the room?
The room? I'd say the room is about... probably 12 feet high. 12, 15 feet high. It's kind of rough, so it varies,
Sweet.
but it's around that. Around that.
I'll move over here and jump on the bed and then climb up the side of the wall. And then when I'm up towards the ceiling, then I will launch magic missile at one of these witherlings and pray for life.
Okay.
To which I will no longer be invisible afterwards.
Okay, I was just about to ask that. Okay. All right. So you scuttle up the wall here. So like, are you like kind of like on the middle of the ceiling up above? Would you say, or would
I
you?
don't know if I can stick to ceilings because I don't have like spider climb. I have a climb speed, so I figured I could climb. I figure I'm, like,
What was
up in
it?
the
Your
corner.
what was it? You're a hybrid with?
Like a gecko,
Like a gecko?
like a lizard, basically.
Okay. Like, I don't know if you could do fully horizontal surfaces, but you could probably do like somewhat angled. So
Or
you're
like rough texture or whatever.
yeah, it's like you're probably like on the ceiling. I would
Yes, if I could be on the ceiling as far away from anything sharp as I can, that's where I would be.
Yeah, well, yeah, we'll say you're kind of as kind of up in the crook of the ceiling here in this corner that you casted your missiles out. So yeah, missiles come out and they hit this Gnoll Witherling 1, who kind of lets out this kind of raspy hissing noise as these hit him, and he kind of stumbles backwards, like just a hair here from those striking him. Anything else, Boo?
No.
Okay. Zara. Cultist here, grinning, licking the blood off his scimitar in front of you.
Sayara, if I can get my sheet to agree with me,
Okay.
is gonna cast Sacred Flame on him.
Okay.
Cultist 1.
Alright, so your Sacred Flame comes down. The cultist does not manage to save against it. Go ahead and roll that damage. Alright, so your Sacred Flame descends on this cultist, dealing some radiant fire onto him. He doesn't seem to like it too much, demon cultists and all. He isn't too fond of this holy light, so he kind of wrenches back a little bit at this. Which brings us to the big boy. So this guy, he kind of shouts in a language that you don't understand to his brethren here, and he kind of raises both of his arms up in the air and kind of circles them around and points in your direction and kind of lets out another howl. Seems to be directing this group here. And then afterwards he just kind of crouches down, kind of readying himself here on these stairs, kind of letting his goons do the dirty work, it seems. Which brings us to Blossom.
Blossom is going to move up and attack Cultist 1 there.
Okay, strike away. That hits. Go ahead and roll that damage. Very nice. Damn. So, Blossom, you come running up here with this great axe held high overhead and bring this crashing down onto this cultist as he's still kind of reeling back from this sacred flame, kind of trying to brush off what he can, what little fires remain on his cloak. And you just cleave this guy. He is gone. Anything else on your turn, Blossom?
Nope, nothing else.
Okay, Jinku.
I'm going to rush ahead past the others and attack Cultist 2 with my flail.
Okay. Critical hit. Very nice. Roll that damage. Alright, Jinku, you come charging out. This Loxodon just charging through your friends here. Flail swinging around and just bring this swinging flail straight down into this guy. And he just collapses, just completely impacts his chest. This guy also goes down.
Excellent.
Then I look at the big boy straight in the eye and say, "You're next."
Nice, very nice. Alright. Brings us to Noel Witherling, number 1. So, Noel Witherling here. Let's see, that's what, 5, 10, 15, 20. Noel Witherling kind of shambles up and down the stairs here and up to you, Jinku. And he kind of raises his bony hand and opens his mouth and tries to bite and strike at you, but misses both times. No Witherling 2 does the same. He also moves up to you, Jinku, here, and tries to also bite and strike at you, and misses both times.
Wow, these things suck.
Mix.
So Mix will step forward just a little bit here.
Mm-hmm.
And do a... Oh, that's neat. How big is this? Oh, this is cool. Okay, so he casts a flaming sphere on the Noel Witherling 1.
Okay. How big is that?
5 feet.
Okay, so it's just on his tile then.
It's just one guy, but I can. All right, and then he'll take half damage on.
Okay. Okay. So.
And then, sorry, as a bonus action, then I'm going to move the sphere 5 feet south
Okay.
and slam it into No Witherling 2, which will trigger it a second time.
Very nice. Okay, cool. Go ahead and roll up that. Okay. All right. So this flame. So it's now the flaming sphere is just kind of in place on said No Witherling, right? Okay. All right.
Yeah, and then it's on their
Turn that re-rolls
turn.
the save. Okay, cool. All right. So this flaming sphere comes shooting out of Mix here, and singes this Null Witherling 1, moves, and also does the same to Null Witherling 2. Which brings us to the Null here by the big boy. So this Null had, heard the magic missiles coming from up above, and he kind of moves towards the area of the room where you're at, kind of looks up at you up in the corner there. And he kind of reaches onto his back and pulls out a longbow and tries to hit you up here in the corner. And misses. Which brings us to the top of the round with Boo.
I will look at the knoll that just shot at me, and I will say, "So I guess you die." And I will pull my bell out and ring Toll the Dead on him.
Okay. All right. Is that like half
My
damage?
turn? Nope, it's a cantrip.
It's a cantrip. Okay. Nothing happens. Okay. Brings us to Blossom. Freshly showered in this cultist you just cleaved. What are you up to?
I'm gonna run up
Mm-hmm.
and rage.
Okay. Interesting. Alright, so let's see. 1, 5, 10, 15, 25. So, go ahead and target, or I guess I'll roll their, because I don't think it has a built-in cast thing for that. Hold on here. How do I open up their full sheet so I can like roll a wisdom save? Is that
Oh, like on the Witherling or whatever. Double click on them in the combat tracker, or I think double click their token and it should pop a sheet. Or on the far right
there we go.
side of them,
Got
you
'em.
can click.
Got him. So let's see, a wisdom saving throw. So we'll do. Alright, so the Witherlings. What is that a save against? What's your spellcasting modifier? Is it like are you like a charisma or something? Let me see. Hold on, let me get you pulled up here. Oh, I guess you don't have any spells aside from your wild magic stuff.
It should be 10 plus proficiency bonus plus the ability, the key ability for the class, I think.
Okay. So 10 plus 2 plus. What is it? Dex for us? Or is Barbarian Dex, I think? Yeah.
I thought bards were strength.
Or Strength. Well, 14. Okay, so the one of the Noel Witherling saves, the other one does not. So you get a glimpse into its thoughts and gets disadvantage. Okay, so this witherling... Hold on, let me find where its effects are. Oh yeah, that's the ad. Okay, ad. Disadvantage is like dis ATK, right? Or something? For the effect?
Yeah, yeah. And I was wrong. It's 8 plus proficiency bonus.
Oh, okay. Well, it's still the one passed and one failed, so that still checks out. Okay, so that should apply. See, the Knoll was within 30 feet. Let me go ahead and roll him. He fails. So in terms of what you read from the Knoll in the corner, that he's kind of mad that he missed Boo up here on the wall, and you sense that he is going to try to attack at Boo again. You ascertain that he's going to try to throw his spear at Boo. The Witherling that you read, you just read that he's going to try to bite and strike again. Nothing super interesting. The big one, let me roll him. When you get a read on the big Knoll, you read that he is about to charge forward to attack Jinku. Okay. So you have your rage. Are you going to attack as well?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, so you swing your Great Axe down at No Witherling 2 here, and it manages to shuffle out of the way slightly from that strike. Anything else?
I will yell at Boo about the spear and Jinku about the charge.
Okay, sounds like a plan. Mix.
As a bonus action, I'll move the sphere north into No Witherling 1 space.
Okay, go ahead and roll the saves for that. And roll the damage. Alright, so this flaming sphere kind of moves and coalesces around No Witherling 1, and you kind of hear the hissing and popping of, whatever moisture may be in this thing's bones, and it crumples away into ash. This one is dead.
And then I'll cast Eldritch Blast at No Witherling 2.
Okay, fire away. Alright, that hits. Roll that damage. Very nice. Okay, so this Eldritch Blast arcs over the heads of Blossom and Jinku here, striking into No Witherling 2, kind of blasting off one of its arms, doing a pretty significant damage to it here. Which brings us to Sarah.
Me. I think I'm going to step up here
Okay.
and I'm going to, I guess I'm gonna attack this Knoll thing.
Okay.
Yeah. With my guiding bolt.
Okay. That hits. Nice, doing 13 damage. And if I remember right, that also has an effect that it applies to.
I believe so.
Yeah, just click
Yeah.
click that effect button.
It grants advantage to the next person that attacks it.
Very nice. All right. Let me take a look really quick because I think that guiding bolt.
As long as they attack before the end of my next turn.
Okay, sweet. All right, that brings us to you, Jinku. So Blossom has just informed you that this big guy's intending to run at you.
Oh, I'm gonna beat him to the punch.
All
I'm
right,
gonna run at him and attack him.
all right. Very nice. All right, that hits. And striking at him with your flail, another 6 damage to this gnoll, who kind of lets out an angry roar at this as it strikes into him.
I have the action surge.
Oh, okay.
I think, if I'm able to, I'd like to use it to attack him again.
You may, go ahead.
Jinku smash.
Very nice, that also hits.
That's the idea.
All right. Okay, anything else?
Nope.
All right. Oops. Noel Witherling 2. So seeing that its compatriots are going down, this still kind of mindlessly attacks at you, Blossom, here, since you're right in front of it. Doing both a bite and a claw. Both missing due to the disadvantage on it from you reading its mind.
He's just very spooked.
The gnoll in the corner takes out its spear and tries to hurl it up at you against the wall here, Boo. Let me see. And that does hit. So the spear comes flying at you, Boo, up in the corner, and deals 3 damage to you as this strikes into you up here on the ceiling. And the snow kind of lets out some kind of growls and cheers and kind of raises its other hand at near direction. The big boy here, he returns fire onto Jinku and attacks as well. With both a bite and a claw. Alright. So, taking both hits, Jinku takes a total of 15 damage from this gnoll as he lays into you with his bite and his claw. Brings us back to the top of the round with Blossom.
Alright. We'll attack this gnoll again.
Okay. That hits. Roll that damage. Alright. So you bring your great axe down. This gnoll witherling managed to take off another hunk of its torso here, but it still seems to be standing for some reason on dead stuff. Who knows how they work. Anything else on your turn, Blossom?
Nope, that would be it.
Okay. Alright, so our big friend again roars and kind of lets out in the common tongue, "Blood for Yinogu!" And attacks again at you, Jinku, with a bite and a claw. Manages to hit for that, and deals an additional 3 poison damage from that as well. Which brings us to Zara.
I'm gonna try and heal Jenku.
Okay.
Is there anything specific I would need to do if I'm trying to cast this using a second level spell slot? Or do I just manually roll the extra die?
We just roll the extra die.
Okay. So I'm gonna use a second level spell slot.
Okay.
So I'm gonna heal Jinku.
Okay. Go ahead and roll another heal on that. Just click it again. Sweet. Alright, so Jinku, you feel a bit reinvigorated from this. I believe that's a touch spell, right? So you would have had to...
Yes.
Okay, so...
I have to touch her.
Okay, so go ahead and move up a square behind her so you're right next to her. Or behind her, however you want to be positioned. There you go.
Don't worry, I'll protect you.
Alright. Jinku, you feel a bit reinvigorated from this. Pretty significant amount of healing after this knoll's been ripping into you here. Anything else, Sarah?
No, there's not really anything else I can do.
Okay. Mix.
I'll move this flaming sphere south into 2.
Okay. Alright, roll that damage. Full damage this time. Very nice. So, Blossom, you see this null witherling wither away in front of you here at the touch of this fire. And the path is now open in front of you.
And then I will Eldritch Blast the knoll attacking Boo.
Okay. Alright, and that Eldritch Blast swings wide, striking the rocks in the back. You know, almost just a little bit below Boo. Kind of winces a little bit. But, Jinku, you're a bit reinvigorated. This knoll here is slavering in front of you here, drool dripping from his chops.
With fire in my eyes, I will hit him with my flail.
Okay. That hits. Alright, very nice. Your flail strikes true. Anything else?
Just as a free action, I'll just tell Zyara, stay behind me.
Alright.
Don't worry, I will.
Boo.
I will continue with Toll of the Dead on this knoll underneath me.
Okay.
Or not.
Or not. Alright. Alright, that brings us to the knoll. So he did manage to strike you with his spear, but he hears his boss getting torn into behind him here, kind of whirls around, and moves this direction here. And oops. There we go. And strikes out at Sarah here. Twice.
No.
Hitting once. Dealing 3 damage with his bite to you, Zyara. Which brings us back to the top with Boo. Damn, Boo.
Damn Boo. That's what they all say.
Getting great initiative every single round.
Okay, I will do Toll of the Dead on the Knoll Fang.
Okay. Womp.
Jeez, I'm about useless.
Well, you know.
It's okay. It happens to most of us. All right, Zara, you just got bitten too by this knoll, who's also kind of got this blood rage in his eyes. It seems coming after you.
I'm gonna step back.
Okay.
And...
That will incur attack of opportunity if you do that.
Oh, it does?
Well, unless you're using your action to disengage.
Oh. I guess I didn't think it did an attack of opportunity since I'm not actually passing it.
No, it's if you're moving, out of a range or past a melee range of stuff, that incurs attacks of opportunity, unless you specifically use your action to disengage.
And I'll just attack instead.
Okay.
So since it's already super close to me,
Yeah.
and I can't really back away without an attack of opportunity,
Mm-hmm.
would you say it is close enough for me to touch it?
Oh yeah, you're in melee range. You could do that.
Cool. Cool. I am going to cast Inflict Wounds on it.
Okay.
Nice.
And you get a crit. Very nice. Go ahead and roll.
Beautiful. Oh, that couldn't have gone any better.
Damn! 33 damage. Wow. How does that look?
Zyara being really pissed off that it bit her, reaches out and basically just like slaps her hand on its forehead between the eyes, and like this like really poisonous kind of aura goes over her hand, and its skin just like erupts in like these nasty ass boils, and then it falls over dead.
All right. Very nice. Very nice. All right. Anything else?
Now can I move?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Now Zyara is gonna take a step back.
That was beautiful.
Very nice.
Basically, Zyara's whole interpretation of that churn, just giving everything the finger.
I
Very.
just imagine her saying, "You bitch," and slapping it.
How dare you? This was a new dress.
Oh, that's great. All right, Jinku. All right, your flail again strikes true.
But not quite good enough.
All right. Which brings us to Blossom. All that's left is this heaving large
Blossom's
knoll.
going to run up and attack.
All right, strike away. All right, and unfortunately, the rough stones of the stairs here cause you to fumble a bit as you're coming up on him. Which brings us to Mix.
Move the fireball.
Move the fireball. All right, roll that damage.
And then I'll Eldritch Blast.
Oh! Oh, very nice. Damn! Alright. Getting all sorts of crits this set battle here. Alright, so this Eldritch Blast comes arcing out from the back of the room here. In addition to this fireball that had moved into its space and manages to take this guy down. Very
Jinku
nice.
will turn to Mix and say, "Damn it, he was mine."
Mix just can't do anything right.
No, me and Mix are not friends anymore. Well, we were before because of the door, but now we're really not friends.
All right. Nicely done, you guys. You find yourself now in an empty and bloody cultist little basement lair they got going on here. Seems you have completed the task required of you.
Zyara wants to look around for any books, papers, religious iconography, anything about this cult or the demon, really.
Okay. Go ahead and roll an investigation check for me.
Really wishing I had any points in investigation.
Okay. All right. So, Zara, you look around and you manage to find kind of a few kind of sparse scrolls and, some books that are pretty falling apart and don't have too much left in them. But at least from what you can read, because they are written in Infernal, which you do understand, is you do find just what seems to be some pieces of information related to Yinogu, who is the demon lord worshipped by gnolls. And it seems like there are some various bits and pieces related to, maybe trying to summon him or just to commune with him, trying to just kind of foster that relationship with this demon lord. You see a lot of various details about, describing Yinogu as like the lord of savagery and the beast of butchery. It seems he revels a lot in the blood and the gore and and sacrificing and pretty Old Testament fire and brimstone kill stuff kind of god. But other than that, you don't find too much else of interest, or at least stuff that you can even make out anymore. Because a lot of it's just kind of tattered, not in the best of condition.
Okay. She's going to put what she can, like what she has found, in her bag.
Mm-hmm.
And also take out a notebook.
Okay.
To draw the circle that they put on the floor in her notes so she can study later.
Sure. Okay.
And then she's going to essentially destroy the circle that's on the floor.
Okay. Sounds good. Did you note down the stuff that you guys had found in the other room the other day? I don't remember if you had when you were looking in there, Zyara.
You told me that I found some sort of like journal.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if it ever got put in my inventory.
Oh, okay. There's only really like one main interesting thing. Because if you got like you're like noting stuff down right now, the main thing that was in there that was kind of scribbled in the margins of that journal you had found in the other room, was a note that said, "The oldest is fallen."
Yeah, I think I remember you saying that. I don't know if I wrote it down.
Okay. I just figured I'd bring it up since it sounded like you were noting down some other stuff, so.
Yeah. Let's see if I can get into my notes.
Okay. Anybody else doing anything?
Cleaning my robes. I'll use prestidigitation to clean the piss out of my robes. And then I'll look at you guys and say, I am not doing that again.
Oh, yes, you are.
That was a lot of fun.
Never again. Never again.
You were the one that was so excited about this job.
Was being the key word.
Which, speaking of Did you want to take something back as proof?
Yeah, I'll cut all their ears off and put them in a pocket. All of the dead things that have ears.
Well, they all have ears of some sort.
I didn't know what the witherlings did.
I guess that's true. Those guys are probably ash, but at least the other ones did. So, you got some gnoll ears, you got some human ears, you know. Ears in a bag, like you do. Alright. So, do you guys head... So you guys head back up, you know, out of this kind of old farmhouse and out of these tunnels that have been kind of hewn out of a wall in the basement. And find yourself back out in the kind of fields and farmland below Waterdeep here, just outside of, or just below the wall, or the cliff.
Oh, I for one could use a rest. And
Yeah.
I don't feel like that's going to be available in a city that fosters the likes of cultists like that. We should go back to report our proof here, and I'll pat my kind of dripping pocket, and then I'll yeah.
All right. So it is, you know, it was like in, you know, kind of in the evening when you guys came here, because you decided to come here when it was getting dark. So if you do decide to go head back up into the city, like it's going to be, you know, like early morning, like 2-3 a.m. Because you got to hike back down around to the gate below the cliff. This is going to take you probably a couple hours worth. Get up there. I would say it's probably at this point about, you know, maybe 9-10 in the evening or so. So you guys are going to head back up into town and kind of get back up there late at night?
It's fine by me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alright. Alright, so you all kind of make your way out of here and kind of back along the road that you had taken to get to Undercliff. Even though it's night, there's still a fair bit of traffic out here on the road. Mostly kind of traders, it seems like, carts with various wares and things, traveling back and forth. And it's a big city. There's, you know, always stuff going on, even at nighttime. But you do manage to make it back up the hill, kind of through the winding switchbacks, and back up through the river gate of the town. And you find yourself in the trades ward here at night here in Waterdeep. The trades ward is, for the most part, somewhat quiet. There's still a fair bit of activity around, mostly just from, you know, various shipments and things coming in to the shops in this area, things like that. You know, there are still, you know, some pubs and inns and things that are around that are open and have patrons, and, you know, some drunks around. I mean, there aren't as many shoppers this time of night, but, you know, it's still a big city. There's still people that are up and about. So are you guys going to head back to your place first, or head back directly to the Castellanters, or? It is like 2 in the morning.
I guess I would probably wait until morning to go give them my pocket of ears.
Yeah, we should probably take a rest and go back fresh in the morning.
Okay. Alright. So, you guys make your way back up the high road here through Waterdeep, and eventually make your way kind of up into the neighborhood you're more familiar with. You do as you're kind of coming up the street outside here, the street that kind of leads up to your place, you do spot Vincent, the private investigator, who's a couple houses down from you, leaving his place and kind of heading off somewhere else into the night. But you do manage to make it back to Troll Skull without too much of trouble. When you guys enter into the place, you find the urchins asleep, just kind of on some of the chairs and furnishings. They're just kind of zonked out. Seems they've been amusing themselves down here and just kind of tuckered themselves out. And you guys take a rest. Let me go ahead and do that.
Woo.
Woo. Alright. So it's now the morning of the next day. You wake up probably a little later than usual. It was a long night. Probably like 10 or 11 in the morning by the time most of you are up and about. What do you guys get up to?
I'm teaching the urchins how to blow smoke rings.
Alright.
Good skill.
Nice, nice.
I'm probably cleaning my flail off because I didn't bother to clean it off the day before.
Good call, good call.
I think Zayara is probably just trying to do research.
Okay. Let's see. Like research into what?
Into the cult and the demon.
Okay. I mean, you don't have too much here at the manor in terms of stuff you could research. I mean, you could try going over to the bookseller, see if they have anything.
That's true. I mean, she was probably just working off of what she had found.
Oh, okay,
but,
just kind of working off your notes.
But, I mean, she might go over there.
Okay. Let's see here. 1 second. Alright, so you head over to the bookworm here, and step inside. Rashal is kind of dusting off some books near the entrance here. Kind of turns right as you enter. Says, "Oh, yes,
Zayara.
Zyar. Yes, that's right. What can I do for you today?"
I was curious what kind of books you had on the Pantheon, different gods and demon lords.
Ah, I see. Yes, of course. We have a number of books on those subjects. Are you looking for something more general across all of them, or a particular group you're looking into?
A little of both. Something general would be good. Right now, I'm trying to find more information on demon lords, specifically Yinogu.
Interesting. Well, I'm pretty sure we have some books related to the demon lords. I mean, more of informational than anything, useful in their practice. I wouldn't want to keep things like that around.
That's fine. I'm looking for information more than anything.
Ah, well, that is good. Best not to trouble with those sorts. And so she kind of moves off to kind of look around. And she does eventually returns with a book. She kind of brushes it off a little bit, and you see the title is called Foes of the Deep, and it seems to just kind of have some general information about, some of the various demon lords. You kind of flip through as she hands it to you here, and you see, Yenogu, of course, and as well as some other demon lords and princes: Orcus, Baphomet, Julablex, Demogorgon, some other things like that. Some various information. If you look into it more later, I can give you more stuff on each of those. But she says, well, for this, it's a fairly common informational tome, I would say. So, what's a silver piece for it?
I'll take that deal. Thank you.
All right, wonderful. And hands her your book and moves off elsewhere in the store.
Okay. I'll take the book back to the manor.
Cool. Are you gonna look through it at all? Anything?
Yeah, I'll probably look for more information on Yenogu.
Sure.
Before we go visit the family.
Sure. Let's see here. Let me... So, in kind of looking through the pages related to Yenogu here, you're able to find out that, he is a pretty powerful demon lord, but definitely not on the same level as some other ones in terms of strength and influence in that realm. He isn't able to arrive on the material plane of his own accord. He can only come here by fanatics summoning him in order to spread his taint across the material plane. He's able to influence in various ways from his realm, visions, omens, dreams, signs, things like that. But unless he manages to be summoned, it seems to mention a ritual, but doesn't really go into much of a detail about it. But at least from what you can gather from the information about it, seems like it's a pretty bloody affair. But yeah, aside from being summoned, it doesn't seem he can do too much in the material plane.
So, from what it does say about the ritual,
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem pretty obvious to assume that the cult meant to use the children as a blood sacrifice?
It doesn't say anything specific about the ritual. It just mentions there is one. But just from inferring, just the information about Yenogu in general being a rather bloodthirsty, ravenous type demon lord, bestial, butcherer type thing, you can infer that that's probably what was happening, or was going to happen, that they were going to be used in some sort of dark shit.
Okay.
All right. So, with that, you guys make your way over to the western side of town, the Castellanter Villa, and you find yourselves outside the walls of this. Gates are currently closed to the inner area. What do you guys do here?
Do we see anybody about, or is there any kind of bell we can ring?
Zara and Jinko, you do look through the bars of the gate here, and you do see the two kids kind of playing in kind of that central yard garden area, kind of a little ways off, kind of running around, playing tag, that kind of thing.
Hey, kids! Kids!
So you do manage to get their attention, and oops, where did that go? And Elzarina and Terenzio both kind of run over. They recognize you from the other night. Kind of hard to miss or forget. And they come running over and say, "Oh, yay! You're back! You're back!"
Yes, we need to speak with your father.
"Oh, yes, okay. We'll go get him." And they kind of run off into the house proper. And just a moment later, you see the their butler come out and opens the gate, brings you guys inside, and you find Lord Castellanter here, Victoro waiting for you in the kind of entryway of the house, and he kind of looks at you expectantly. Well, I trust you bring good news.
I'll pull out the handful of ears from my pocket and say, "Yep, right here."
He kind of takes a glance at it, and then kind of like waves his hand downward, kind of like to put it back away. Yes, that's more than enough proof for me. Were you able to find anything out?
I'll look at Zyara, but I won't say anything.
Well, there was limited information in the actual hideout that we found, but from what we know, the demon lord that they were trying to resurrect required a rather bloody sacrifice, which we assume the kids were intended for.
Yes. It's always the bloody sacrifices with these demon types, unfortunately. Well, I thank you for protecting the lives of my children. I am more than happy to hold up my end of the bargain here. And he kind of nods towards his butler, who moves off into another room for a few moments, and then comes back with a couple pretty hefty bags of coin. And Victoria kind of turns to all of you. Well, what was it? 2,000? Yeah. The 2,000 gold that I promised to you. For this, I trust this will more than cover the rest of your expenses and help you once again reopen the manor.
Yes, that should help quite a great deal.
Well, I owe you a great debt. You're always welcome here at our villa. Perhaps we can, have dinner again sometime in the future.
Well, you know where to find us.
Yes, indeed.
Perhaps we can say hi to these children that we have saved?
Yes, of course, certainly. And he kind of calls up the stairs for his kids. Elzrina, Terenzio, come. These fine adventurers have saved your lives. Please, give them your thanks. And Elzrina and Terenzio kind of bow and curtsy at you both. It seems they don't fully understand the whole situation that was at hand. But, they know that you guys did something good and it helped the family. So they're happy to kind of give you some obeisance.
Does one look older than the other?
No, they both appear to be the same age. Despite them being different genders, they are pretty identical, aside from that difference.
Do I get any weird vibes off of them? The eldest has fallen thing kind of bothers me. That's why I wanted to look at these kids and see which one I might need to murder later.
Sure. Go ahead and roll an insight check for me. Okay. So you try to get a read on these two kids, and the only read you get off them is just kind of general childlike innocence. Nothing off or anything like that. They just seem like kids.
Well, thank you. It was a pleasure doing business, and it was nice meeting you young children.
I'm curious.
Mm-hmm.
Can I do an insight check on the butler?
On the butler?
Yeah.
Sure. Go ahead.
Because didn't you say we saw him sneaking around?
The
last night?
No, the person you saw leaving their place was Vincent Trench, the private investigator,
Oh.
the guy with the side, the mutton chops.
Oh. Their names sounded similar.
No, different guy.
Okay, never mind. I don't need to do an insight check on him.
At least you remember they sound similar. I can't remember anybody's name.
I was just like, well, I didn't remember the butler's name until he mentioned it. And I was like, wait, isn't that the guy we saw sneaking around? The butler did it!
No, that was Vincent Trench, PI.
Okay. Never mind.
All right, do you guys do anything else here at the mansion before leaving?
No.
I think Zyara would just basically tell the Lord or whatever to let them know if they have any other jobs that they need done, and then they can leave.
Okay.
Jinku's probably carrying the money bags because they're probably heavy.
Yeah. All right.
And no one's gonna mess with the Loxodon.
Exactly.
All right. So you guys do manage to make it back to the manor unscathed with your cash. So with this influx, it seems you guys will be able to get things in motion to finish up whatever remaining repairs there are. Boo, are you going to try to look into any other info about that eldest thing, or I'm not sure.
I'm not sure yet where I'd look.
Okay. All right.
Unless it's like the eldest demon lord.
All right. Well, I think this would probably be a good place to take a quick bio. So we're about halfway through. So let's go ahead and do that, and we will return in 5-10 minutes or so. We will see you guys then. Welcome back, everyone. Let me get this put back over here. Okay. So, you guys are back at your place and all set up with a whole assload of cash. What are you gonna do?
Call the guilds.
All right. Hold on, let me get that repairs thing up here for you. Okay. Oh, probably should add that gold into the party sheet. There we go. Whole lot of dosh.
What game was it that called it Dosh? No. I'm trying to think. There was some video game that called your cash Dosh. I think it was Killing Floor.
It could be.
Oh, it's sad. We have all this cash, and it's gonna be gone again real soon.
Yeah, but we'll have like 700 gold left over.
Well, more than that because you already paid, 350 or so of that gone. So you'll have more than 1,000 left.
Yeah, so we'll have like 1,000 gold.
Yay!
All right. So what all you guys trying to go after first?
Or is our roof done or no? I thought it was.
I don't think so.
Okay.
I thought something was going on with it, though.
No, I think it was. I think I just forgot to cross it off. Hold on.
Okay.
Here, let me doodle. Here. Okay. Yeah, that one's good.
Well, we could probably send the children to go pay the Dung Sweepers Guild. And then we could go, visit the rest of them. What do you guys think?
Sure.
All right. So you send the urchins out to seek out the Dung Sweepers Guild, let them know that you now have some money to pay to start taking away some of this refuse that you've been kind of piling haphazardly in one of the rooms. And you make your way out for some of the others. Let's see here. Let me find some information here. So, you do manage to make it around to most of these. Probably most of them. You managed to make it around to the Sellers and Plumbers Guild and the Stonecutters, Masons, Potters, and Tile Makers Guild and the Glassblowers, Glaciers, and Spectacle Makers Guild. They're all kind of spread out all over the city, so it's a bit of a trek to try to hit them all. But you managed to make it around to those three and kind of inform them of your needs. And they all seem pretty happy to work with you, both for the work, of course, and Trollskull Manor does have some historical renown to some people here, and so they're happy to kind of help get that back up and running. And they're more than willing to, come by over the next few days and do the work that you have paid them to. As you all are walking around, Boo, you guys are like walking down a street in the trades ward, just kind of going about your errands, and you hear a message in your head as you're walking along, Boo, that says, "I am Vajra Safar, the Blackstaff. Come to Blackstaff Tower in the Castle Ward at once. Bring your friends." And you just hear this in your mind, and you're the only one that hears this.
Do I recognize it as like a magic message, or
You recognize that it's ascending spell.
okay? I will turn and look at the I'll stop dead in my tracks, and then I'll turn and tell the group, we've been summoned by the Blackstaffs. We probably shouldn't tarry for this. And when nobody says anything, I'll just turn and head towards wherever. I imagine I could see that spire probably from almost anywhere in the city, right?
Well, from where it's at in the castle world, like it's not on like the mountain. It's not like right next to the castle. It's,
okay.
It's well, here, let me show you. It is near the market. Let me share. It's just north of the Lady Dreaming statue. Should see a green pin in like a square building. It's like you can't like see it because there's a lot of city between the trades ward and where that is.
Okay.
But I mean, I'd say you probably don't know exactly where it's at right offhand. Like you just know it's in the castle ward, and you think it's probably around the market somewhere. But that's about all you know offhand.
I think it's in the castle ward.
Well, you know that. She told you that. Have the rest of you react at all? Or?
Jinku will probably just shrug and just follow wherever he goes.
All right. So, well, I guess you guys go ahead and make it off to the castle ward. You make it all the way to the great market here in the center. It's about, probably early afternoon at this point, so things are hustling and bustling about with your usual day-to-day shoppers and wares and little traders and whatnot. Looking around, like you see a variety of tall buildings that could all be towers of various kinds. There's a lot of them here in the city, but you aren't quite sure which one exactly is the one in question.
Is there any guards around, or?
Yeah, I'd say there's probably guards around.
I'd probably approach a guard and ask them, excuse me, do you know whereabouts I can find the Blackstaff Tower?
So the guard thinks for a moment here and says, yes, of course. Blackstaff Tower is just to the west of here. It's right near the Lady Dreaming, if you know where that is at.
I don't. Tell me about it. What's the Lady Dreaming? I've heard several people mention it, but I haven't been myself.
Well, the Lady Dreaming, of course, is one of the many famous large statues we have here in Waterdeep. It is said that they are guardians of the city. One of the walking statues are said to protect the city in times of great peril. But they haven't moved in quite some time. But the Lady Dreaming is a beautiful statue that appears to be a female elf, and their hair and clothing on the statue kind of flow naturally off of her. Supposedly the last time that they were active, this statue toppled onto its side, and it appears to be sleeping. So this beautiful lady sleeps up on the rise on the western side of town. You can, almost see the edge of her arm poking up over there to the west.
Oh my, I bet that is a sight to see. I'll have to have a visit after we find this Blackstaff Tower. I appreciate your assistance, guardsman. Is it wrong in this? Can you tip a guard? I'll flip him a coin, I don't care.
Alright.
I'll give him like a silver piece.
Alright. He more than happily takes it.
I mean, you're not bribing him, so it's not illegal.
There you go.
You're just paying him for his services.
There you go. That's what I always try and say. I will head towards the Blackstaff Tower, or towards where he told me to go. West of there.
Alright. So you do eventually make your way to the Blackstaff Tower here on the west end of town. So from, now that you're close to it, it was a little, with the way that the sun was in the west, I mean, pretty much all the buildings and towers and structures in this direction were dark from, the shadow from the side that you were looking at them. But, this building is actually quite black as a whole. And the entire tower appears to be smooth. There don't appear to be any windows or doors that you can see, strangely. And it's about 3 stories tall, from what you can tell. And there's a wall, kind of a 20-foot wall around the base of it, with a gate in one side that's guarded. The gate looks to be kind of on the eastern side of the tower as you guys approach.
Oh, I expected it to be taller, but I think this is the place, guys.
All right. So you guys head up to the gate here, and you see a couple guards standing here. They aren't wearing the same kind of outfit as the kind of general city guards that you've seen around. The guard outfit that they seem to wear is kind of a grayish tinge and has kind of a hand imprint on one of the shoulders. You haven't really seen this around too much before, but they appear to be kind of a unique. They have a kind of a unique setup here, it seems.
Oh, guardsman, I believe we are expected.
And the guardsman you see him kind of turn to the side for a moment, and kind of thinking, or you're not quite sure what he's doing, and he turns back and says, "Ah, yes, of course. The Lady Vajra summoned you. Certainly, come in, come in." And he opens the gate here, and you do see there is one door to the place on the ground floor. That's it. You can now see, here from now that you're behind the walls, but everything else is completely smooth all the way up. And he kind of leads you towards this front door here, and opens it, and you find yourself. The interior is quite surprising. You find when you guys walk inside here. Like I said, from the outside, it's smooth, no windows, no doors, 3 stories tall. On the inside, there appears to be, there's a central kind of spiraling stairwell that goes all the way up. And it appears to go up at least a dozen or more levels up above you. Much more than you would expect given the size from the exterior. And additionally, all along the walls that you can see are windows that appear to, at least from what you can tell, show the outside. And like the place is all quite lit up from these, supposedly windows of some kind that appear to show what is going on around. There's various rooms you see kind of off to the sides. There's lovely arches and kind of woodwork everywhere. Shelves and various cases with artifacts and things. And most of them, some of these cases even seem to just be open. They just seem to be like pedestals with what look to be ornate items just kind of sitting on them around. And as you're all kind of looking around and wonder at this kind of spectacular scene, a lady with a rather large staff comes out from one of the rooms to the side and kind of bows in your direction and says, "Yes, welcome. I am Vajra, the Blackstaff of Waterdeep. I am glad that you have come. Thank you for being so prompt."
Boo will bow deeply and say, "Yes, of course. I would not miss a summoning from the Blackstaffs of Waterdeep."
Come, sit with me. And she kind of leads you over into a side room here with these kind of ornate, cushy chairs. The walls in here are all lined with, books and more various kind of artifacts on shelves. And she says, "I have heard much tell of you from my friend Raynar. It seems you did him a great service."
"Yes, we did."
I'm glad that he is alive and well, thanks to you. Having heard from him of your savior of his life, and of some of the other adventures that you've been having here in the city, I thought I might reach out to you as I have some employ that may be of your interest to one such as yourself.
"Oh?"
Well, as you may have seen when you came in here, we have our own force that helps the Blackstaffs here, the Force Grey, or the Grey Hands. They're our own kind of private force that helps us with our various business, both protecting the tower and other things that come up that affect the safety of Waterdeep. We do what we can to try to make sure that order is kept here in the city. And given the success that you've had, that I've heard from Raynar and others, notable figures here in the city, I thought I might extend a hand to you all if you had interest in being a part of us, being a part of the Grey Hands.
And what exactly does that entail?
Hold on, let me get some info up here. So, well, the Grey Hands, we are an organization of elite adventurers, and we work directly for the government of the city of Waterdeep. With our goal is to deal with threats to the city that the Guard and then the Watch cannot handle. So often things are a little bit more rough around the edges than your run-of-the-mill Guard can take on. Most of the time we're called on as a last resort when all other things have failed, but thankfully we haven't had any too drastic of happenings around here in recent days and years. But, despite there not being any large dangers at present, we're always on the lookout for up-and-coming adventurers to, help with business around the city, just keeping things up and safe for all of the citizens here. I mean, of course, with our force here, you're not expected to do any sort of regular, patrol type work. We wouldn't ask that of you. That's the job of the watch and the guard, of course. You're free to follow your own goals and, do whatever it is that you need to do for your own livelihood and your own interests here in the city. But when we need you, we call you to action, and we will pay you 100 gold pieces for your services when called upon.
Okay. Any side benefits or anything I get from this?
Well, I mean, the most obvious benefit, of course, is the patronage of Blackstaff Tower, of course. We're quite a repository of magical knowledge and interests here. As a part of Force Grey, you're more than welcome to research and use our facilities here as you need.
Good enough for me. How about you guys?
Yeah, I'm interested.
I find the idea of being employed by the politicians of Waterdeep a hard sell, but if my party is willing.
Well, better to be employed and know what they're doing, right? I mean,
You have
Someone's
high
always gonna-
assumptions that we would know anything they do.
you are correct there, Sayara.
Well, if you are interested in taking up the position, I do have a small job for you that we could send you on. More of an informational mission. There is a monk named Hlam who lives in a cave on the side of Mount Waterdeep, and he keeps an eye on things, threats to the city. He has his ways and means of gathering information, but we would like you to visit him and ask him if he's aware of any threats to the city. But try not to annoy him or overstay your welcome, of course. But if you're willing to head up to his abode and find out what information you can, if he has any, and bring it back to us, I think that would prove yourselves capable enough.
Okay, I'll go talk to a guy for you.
Wonderful. And she kind of notes down some information just kind of relating to the location of his cave. It seems like it's pretty high up on Mount Waterdeep, actually, so it's going to be a bit of a hike up the mountainside to get to where this strange monk lives. But it seems like you have enough information to go off of to find where you need to go.
Is it early enough in the day to go there, or?
I mean, at this point, it's like kind of mid-afternoon. So you would be kind of hiking up the. Let's see here. And you could go there, but you would get there fairly late, just from the time of hiking. And Vajra assures you that this isn't a particularly urgent. This isn't a particularly urgent matter. But if you can take a look into it over the next few days, that is more than fine.
Well, I mean, I got nothing else to do. How about you guys?
Nope, nothing else.
But would we want to start now if we wouldn't get there until super late? Just because then we would have to account for getting back. And she did warn us not to annoy him or overstay our welcome.
You're right. Maybe we should go tomorrow or something.
Plus, this way we can finish our errands.
Okay. So you guys just kind of head back out into the town? Okay. So as you guys are kind of heading back out into the town, and you kind of make your way back over towards the market, Jinku, as you're kind of walking along, you kind of feel something small kind of bump into the side of your head. And you kind of look down at your shoulder, and you see there is a small, looks to be a folded piece of paper in the shape of a bird that has landed on your shoulder.
Okay, I will grab it and unfold it.
Okay. Let's kind of look over this here. And on this piece of paper, you see a note that reads, Raynar tells us you are a good bet. He bought you tickets to the opera tonight at the Lightsinger Theater in the C Ward. If you're interested, meet Mert at intermission. Private box C. Formal attire is required.
I will hand it to Zyara.
And you also see, as you're kind of unfolding this piece of paper, that a few tickets fall out. And you kind of look them over, and it appears that they are tickets for all of you to an opera called The Fall of Tiamat.
So I'll hold the tickets, but I'll hand the note to Zyara.
It seems that multiple people are wanting to get a hold of us today. Well, since we aren't going to talk to the monk until tomorrow, how does everyone feel about going to the opera?
I'll be honest with you, Zyara. Not good, but I'll go wherever you guys want to go. Out of character, this is not something Jinku would ever go do on her own.
I'm not going to no opera. No.
I mean, if you don't want to go, you can certainly kind of busy yourself at the manor. There's certainly things to do there, if you wanted to.
Yeah, you guys have fun at the opera. I want to go find out what this shiny longsword does.
Okay. Are you just trying to, go find some kind of, training ground and just try to...
No, it's... Well, I think it's magical. I want to go find some magic doodah guy who can tell me if it is and what it does, or what.
Sure. Okay. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find some information. So as the rest of you are kind of busying yourselves getting, trying to find whatever you would assume would count as formal attire for this. Blossom, you head off to the local smithers near the manor. You've kind of heard their names before. They kind of introduce themselves in passing to you. But they would be Avi and Embrick. They're a pair that run the... hold on. Let me get their info up here. Hold on. Gotta find where I put all these notes. There they are. So they run the forge and smithy called the Steam and Steel in Trollskull Alley, which is kind of just to the south and east of the manor. So you decide to head that way with your sword here to see if they can ascertain any additional information about this for you. So you step into the Steam and Steel here. As you're as you're kind of walking up the street to where it is here in kind of the late afternoon, the windows and any kind of opening in this building is just kind of billowing steam out of it as you come up, and you can hear the sounds inside of forging and hammers going on. And you walk in and see a fire genasi kind of bent over the anvil here, kind of working on a piece of some sort of equipment. His skin is red, and he has this kind of fiery lock of hair that kind of writhes kind of strangely on his head. Over kind of near him, kind of holding the piece that his husband is working on here, you see Avi, who is a water genasi, who has blue skin and has these kind of large blue-black eyes, and this kind of floaty blue hair that kind of extends off of his head. They seem to be quite a team here with their little shop. And they kind of look up as you walk in and says, "Oh!" Or Amber kind of looks up at you and says, "Oh! One of the new neighbors has come to visit us, Avi." And he kind of continues hammering on this piece. It seems you caught them mid work here. Avi kind of lifts up like a clamp of sorts on one end of this piece they're working on, and kind of dusts his hands off and kind of comes towards you here and says, "Yes, hello, friend. It's nice to finally meet you. We've heard a fair bit about you from Tally at the wood shop behind us here. He speaks highly of you and is glad of all the work that you're able to give him and the help you're able to give his brother. What can we do for you here today?"
Yeah, I want you to take a look at this sword here and, well, tell me all you can about it.
All right. And so Avi kind of takes this sword off of you, and kind of pulls it slowly out of its scabbard that it was in. And as soon as he pulls it out here, you can see that this sword is kind of glinting with light and kind of casting a glow around it. It kind of lights up most of the room when you take it out. And Avi's eyes kind of twinkle, and he says, "Ah, yes, a moon-touched longsword. Beautiful, very beautiful." And he kind of turns it over in his hand and says, "Well, this one, I mean, typically with these kinds of swords, I mean, most of what they do is, glint in the light. But let me take a closer look at this one. There seems to be some additional work that had been done to it." And he kind of takes it over to a bench nearby and kind of pulls out a little kind of small eyepiece and kind of affixes it into a little frame over one of his eyes. He kind of starts poring over this sword here. And after a few moments, he kind of looks back up and he says, "Yes, it seems, in addition to the light enchantment that has been put into this sword, which was forged with the light of the moon, it seems the maker also used a bit of silver in the working of the metal here, and so I believe that this would be of some assistance in fighting against undead creatures. It may do some additional damage compared to just a regular type of sword. They don't respond too well to silver." And he kind of turns it over a few more times, kind of admiring the workmanship on it, and slides it back into its scabbard and hands it back over to you. And so let me just note this here in the information about the sword. If you're hitting on dead stuff with it, roll an extra 1d6 of damage on that sword. In addition to the, the glowing stuff. But that should be noted there. So we'll just keep that in mind if you ever do fight any undead stuff and use that sword. We'll just have to keep in mind to roll an extra dice for you for the damage.
Neat.
Is there anything else that I can do for you here, friend?
Not that I can think of. I just wanted to know more about this sword I got.
All right. Well, happy to be of some assistance there in identifying that. And he kind of turns back to his husband here and moves back over to working on the piece that they were working on. The rest of you, you do manage to get some clothing together for this. Because what do you, so Jinku and Boo and Sarah, I guess, what would you say that you put together for formal attire?
Well, Zyara has a noble's dress.
Well, Zara's set.
Yeah,
Clean robes.
I can do this.
All right.
Oh, Jinku's totally at a loss. She would have asked Sayara to help her.
All right.
She don't do dressy occasions.
Zyara probably went through Jinku's clothes and picked out something dark and simple, and then took one of her own silk shawls or whatever, and then tied it into a fancy looking cravat for Jinku.
And I've just probably got cleaner or nicer robes.
Just ran the prestidigitation washer a few times.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Boo took a quick bath, called it good.
All right. So, you looking on the back of the tickets that were enclosed in this paper bird that bunked into Jinku here, the theater where this opera is to be held is called Lightsinger Theater, and there is a kind of a rough map of the location kind of scrawled on the back of these tickets to kind of help patrons who are coming to visit. The Lightsinger Theater is located in the Castle Ward. And let me see if I have a pin for that, or if not, I can just make one. See if I can find where that's at. Let's see here.
Pin.
I do not have a pin for it. Let me make one real quick. Just a second here. So sad this location thing isn't in Unity. It's gonna make me sad.
That just means you need to learn how to do Fantasy Grounds mods.
I guess so. Oh, fuck, where did I put that? Light Singer Theater. Here we go. Alright. This is on that same area of the map. Light Singer Theater is just below the market, next to the Great Drunkard statue. One of the walking statues of Waterdeep. So pretty much just kind of west of you guys. You make your way over there? Alright.
Yep.
So, you head to that part of town. It's a little bit kind of later into the evening now. The sun's kind of gone down. It's twilight hours right now. This area of town there on the market, it's still pretty bustling. But you can see as you get close to the Light Singer Theater, there's kind of a crowd of kind of more well-to-do people sticking out from kind of the general population of Waterdeep. The theater itself appears to be quite a high-end establishment. Very ornate front facade of the building here. You can kind of see behind it and kind of towering above it one of the great statues of Waterdeep here, the Great Drunkard. Kind of sits on the ground behind it here. The Great Drunkard, let me kind of get you some information on it here as you're taking a look at this. So there is the Great Drunkard kind of has the appearance of a large man who is kind of sitting down on the ground, his legs kind of splayed to either side, and his head kind of nodded down a little bit. It looks kind of like someone asleep. And there is a tavern that has been kind of built up on like the front half of him. The Graukin's Tavern, which kind of made its home here in the Great Drunkard. But that's behind into the next of the theater. But you do have, from the note and the tickets, you do have some information as to where to head. The ticket said Private Box C, and to meet Mert at the intermission there. So you guys make your way inside and find your seats. Your seats aren't in a private box on their own. You're just kind of in a general kind of mezzanine type location. And the opera here, the Fall of Tiamat, is an opera sung in the giant tongue. I don't think any of you speak giant, do you?
You can tell by
No.
switching your language to giant and then typing really quick. That's what I usually do. I don't think I do, and I don't think Nick does.
Nope, nobody understood. Okay. So, I mean, thankfully, there does appear to be kind of this text kind of appears above the stage, kind of magically above it. There seems to be some, wizard kind of making this translation appear above the stage in the common tongue, for those of you who don't speak giant. But it kind of describes the defeat of the evil dragon queen Tiamat at the Well of Dragons, and just kind of as an operatic interpretation of that tale. And staging is all very beautiful, and the singers all as well. You know, even though we don't understand the words, their tone is impeccable. And eventually, you find it's intermission time, and you guys make your way up to the private box. All right. So you guys make your way up some stairs around the side of the theater here, up to the private boxes. Private box C is kind of situated towards the front end of the gallery, pretty close to the stage, and several floors up from the base, so pretty good spot to be. You kind of knock on the door here, and kind of a serving man opens the door and kind of ushers you inside, and you find Mert sitting there in the chair, kind of sipping some sort of drink. And he kind of turns and looks at you and kind of laughs heartily and welcomes you into the box. Ah, yes! It seems you got the note. Glad that you all came. With the work you've helped me out with, and with, Raynar, of course. I am here to extend an invitation to one of you, for the Harpers have taken an interest in you. And he points at you, Jinku. And he says they're interested in seeing if you'd like to join their league.
What would this entail?
So the Harpers. Let me get them up here. So the Harpers, as Mert describes them to you, they're a very long-lasting and resilient faction that seeks to share information and to seek the equal treatment and assistance of all that live in the realm. They are kind of the do-gooders of Faerun, I guess you could say. They don't really have a incredibly centralized leadership. They're mostly kind of various cells in the different parts of Faerun, here in Waterdeep and in Neverwinter and the kind of various areas that kind of do their own thing. But the Harpers kind of singled you out as one that is of good heart, and they thought you might be a good fit for their league. They are particularly adept at infiltration and information gathering, as well, as in addition to their assistance of the good peoples of the realm. If you are interested in joining, they have a few things lined up that they could get you information about, a few little events around in Waterdeep that need your assistance.
Are they aware that I'm not very smart? Why do you think I hang around with these people?
Well, I can't really say I got that impression from you, but if that is the case, that is okay. Like I said, they try to do good in any way that they can, and even if you may not be as skilled in the kind of intrigue and information side of the Harpers, I'm certain one of your station could be to do a lot of good here for the good people of Waterdeep.
That's very kind of you. I would be interested in doing good for this city.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm happy to hear it. he kind of digs around in one of the pockets on his vest here and gets out a small silver pin. This is in the shape of a harp with a crescent moon kind of bending around the harp. And he hands this over to you, Jinku. And he says, this is the symbol of the Harpers League. He says, if you ever have any needs, you're welcome to speak with me directly. You can find me most places, but of course you can visit me in the Sea Ward at my home. But, I may or may not be there. I do get about in the city of Waterdeep quite a bit. So if I'm not home, don't take it as an offense. I am a very sociable man and like to get out and about with friends as much as I can. Let me get you some information here about a job they had some interest in you looking into. He kind of reaches into another pocket and kind of digs around for another piece of paper here. And after a moment, he kind of pulls one out and says, yes, here we go. There is an old woman named Uza Solazef who sells books out of a narrow 3-story building down on Sorn Street in the Trades Ward. And she claims that she's trapped a monster of some kind in her shop, and she fears for the welfare of her books and for her cat. But the City Watch isn't likely to lend much of a hand to her. She has kind of a propensity for tall tales, but the Harpers owe her a favor for some business in the past, and we'd like you to lend her some assistance with this matter, whatever it turns out to be.
Okay. I like cats.
Wonderful. Sounds good. And from what we've heard from our informants in the League, you can currently find her at Felzoon's Folly, which is a tavern nearby her home, at Sorn Street and Salabar Street in the Trades Ward. So when you get the chance, please head that way and see if you can find out what's going on.
Will do.
Wonderful. Well, enjoy the rest of the show, of course. And the manservant that let you in kind of motions towards the door. It seems the intermission period for the opera has almost come to an end. What do you guys do? Do you guys sit around for the rest of the opera, or you head out, or?
I'm enjoying it.
You're enjoying it? Okay, cool.
Jinku is surprisingly enjoying it. It's not something she thought she'd like, but she does.
Nice. Let me get you some information here. So, I mean, from, as we're coming to the end of the opera here, let me kind of give you a little description of kind of what the overall arc of this opera that you just watched here. So, the story had begun that the cult of the dragon had gathered up a large amount of treasure and taken it from people all across the western heartlands and the Sword Coast, and were planning to use this treasure that they had gathered to summon Tiamat into the world. And there had been some good dragons that helped with the combined forces in the Sword Coast, as well as a band of adventurers to stave off these dragons, while the heroes themselves went and tried to stop this summoning that was going to happen. And as the story goes, these heroes, they fought their way through various locales around Faerun and eventually found their way onto the floating castle that these cultists had gathered all of this gold for and all this treasure to try to do this summoning ritual with the aid of a dragon that was there. But they managed to stop the summoning and somehow plummeted the castle into the land, shattering it into 1,000 pieces and scattering the gold far and wide over the countryside where it landed, bringing riches to all of the villages in that area. And the threat of Tiamat was ceased for a time. And so the story goes in this opera. And it ends, and you guys make your way back out into the street among the various throng of well-to-do and noble peoples that had come to view this, and you find yourself, now it's pretty late at night at this point. The opera was decently long. It's probably about 11 at night at this point. But you find yourself here, just outside the market.
Well, shall we go home, or is there something else we want to do?
I'm tired. I say we go home.
Yeah, there's nothing I need to do.
Alright. Well, you guys do manage to make it back to the manor. When you do reach there, Blossom is there. And you also notice that there's been a few more things that have been fixed up around. It seems some of the guild has been there during the day doing some work. Some of the windows on the upper floors look a little bit more fixed up. And some of the brickwork in kind of the main area, like the hearth and some of the other stonework on the outside, on some of the upper kind of balconies that have been broken off, seem to have some work done. And then there's a few kind of piles of bricks and supplies that are kind of sitting around the hearth there. It's still not entirely done. But it seems they got a good bit of work done around here while you guys were gone during the day.
You guys find me drunk telling the children stories of disembowelment from my days in the Colosseum.
That is fantastic. Let me hold on here. Let me see here.
At least one of the kids is going to be super into it.
If not all of them.
We're seeing. Okay, so the children here, Jenks and Squiddly are both very into these stories. They are, like, they both of them have, like, their little, toy weapons out, and they're kind of, waving them around at, kind of key story point descriptions that Blossom's going on about in these various fights. Nat doesn't seem quite as interested. They almost seem almost a little disgusted at the graphic descriptions that Blossom is going into on some of the violence that occurred in the Colosseum. It's Nat does enjoy play fighting, but real fighting might be a bit too much for her, especially with the kind of things that Blossom can get into detail on with a good tankard of ale. but for the most part, they seem to be, not too traumatized. All right, and I think that'll probably be a good spot to call it for today. Got a few leads, a few bits of interest, things to look into. Intrigue slowly grows in the city of Waterdeep.
It's getting complex.
Woo! All right. Well, And to all of you watching, thank you for coming. We will see you next time.